This week, we're going to read one of my favorite passages, and it's a psalm, Psalm 139. You have searched me, Lord, and you know me. You know when I sit and when I rise. You perceive my thoughts from afar. You discern my going out and my lying down. You are familiar with all my ways. Before a word is on my tongue, you, Lord, know it completely. You hem me in behind and before, and you lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me, too lofty for me to attain. Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths, you are there. If I rise on the wings of the dawn, if I settle on the far side of the sea, even there your hand will guide me. Your right hand will hold me fast. When I read this passage, it affects me different ways depending on what I'm going through at the time. But there's a couple of things that when I read this past week that it reminded me of. I have 3 kids, and when they're just little, when they're toddler aged, all little kids go through this phase where they kind of test their boundaries, and they kind of test doing something that they know is wrong, even under the watchful eye of their parents. And I remember with each one of my kids, if they were deciding that they wanted to maybe do something that they shouldn't do, sometimes they would try to hide behind something, like take a marker or something and color on something that they shouldn't. And then they'd kind of look over and see if I'm paying attention. And I remember distinctly that behind the couch was always a good place to try to hide. But as a parent, you can tell when your kid is going to try something that they shouldn't do. And I remember many times saying to each one of my kids, whatever you're thinking, stop. And this passage, I can think of it in 2 different ways. In one way, the fact that it's saying there's nowhere that we can go where we are not under the watchful eye of our Lord. It says that you have searched me, Lord, and you know me. He knows what we're thinking. He knows what we're concerned about. And that can be both convicting and it can be comforting. And on the convicting side of things, I think a lot of times we try to hide behind the couch with the things that we try to excuse, the behaviors that maybe we've adopted or we've tried to make excuses for, that we know better than to try to get out of the eye of our God, who is omniscient, who is omnipresent. He knows, and he, just like a parent who can look at a little one and know, I know what you're thinking, and you need to stop. But on the other side of this, when you're going through a difficult time, knowing that we have a God who is always there, who does see us in every situation, that no matter where we go or what we go through, we are not out of the eyesight of our God who is all-powerful and all-able. And it says, you hem me in behind and before, and you lay your hand upon me. Just the other day, my daughter, she hurt herself, and it scared her as much as it hurt her, and she just needed to be held. That's what our God does. Even when our behavior, maybe our risks that we take, are what lead us into difficult situations, He's right there. He sees us, and He knows us, and He's got us protected. He's right there waiting for us, and He's got His hand on us. Take a look at this passage in Psalm 139. The whole psalm is worth just sitting with, but particularly those first 10 verses. And just rest in the knowledge that we have a God who watches over us and is always there for us.